in once more to see if everything works right now. For the people that are lovely and are very nice and are in chat, as soon as we get into pick and ban phase, could you please tell me if pick and ban phase is lagging? I didn't put my camera on there yet because we want to make sure everything works without it. If that is the case, then you won't see my face. I know it's a disappointment for a lot of people, but you know, sometimes it do be like that. So let's hope it works again.
That would be the perfect time to advertise here on Twitter or Instagram. So if you want to see my face, follow me here.
That is very true. If you want to see more of my streams, go to twitch.tv/TomSonic. We'll be live streaming very soon. Also, don't forget to subscribe or follow here on twitch.tv/TeamThrill, and also go to twitch.tv/esportsteamtwente for your esports gameplay, news, and everything more. It is so lovely to be a sellout.
Yeah, of course. I could also put my Stout links in the chat, but then I'll immediately get banned by Nightbot, so I'll be careful to not do that.
Oh, Nightbot is very annoying because I can't even talk in caps and I'm running this show.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we get into pick and ban, we will see if we lag again. I'm gonna... Oh, we are already in pick and ban and life is perfect. For the people that are in chat, I see 14 people. I love you all and thank you for joining despite all the problems that we're having right now. Is the stream lagging? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat. Is pick and ban phase, is the tool working? Is the timer counting down without any frame drops?
I'm looking on my second screen. It seems to be going fine for now. So, and as soon as I say that, there was a little frame drop. So, we'll have to wait for a bit.
Okay, my Streamlabs is not saying I'm dropping frames. So we're praying, we're hoping, we're praying to the streaming gods that everything is working. Thank you, Lazy Doc. Thank you, Koen, for being there and telling me everything is working. Jaron, thank you as well. Now, let's get into the game. I won't have a camera for this game. Let's hope everything works. I'll have chat on the side. Thank you guys, I love all of you. And Senna, Riven, Samira, and Zach are all getting banned.
Yeah, both teams on the same sides as last game, same bans for now. I think THRLL, while they lost last game, it was definitely not a bad game for them. They showed a very solid early game. Mid game was also good, and then they took one bad bit over aggressive fight, and that's when the Stardom just knew how to take control. But now instead of now they actually go for the Katarina ban instead.
Yeah, they don't want to see this Katarina again. It's a very solo queue-esque pick, but last game it worked quite well. And now Seraphine made it through ban phase and is gonna get picked up instantly.
Yeah, against Seraphine, of course, one of the strongest supports slash mid laners slash ADC slash anything. So very difficult to counter that. I do think what you can do to counter is pick a lot of engage, kill her a couple times early game, make sure that she will always be useful with the ultimate. Make sure that she doesn't deal 20k damage as well then. So Kai'Sa Hecarim picked up, and now Kai'Sa, of course, mechanics had a very good showing on Kai'Sa earlier on in the day in QTKT. Hecarim, I think it's the first time in this qualifier.
Yeah, in this qualifier he hasn't played Hecarim yet, but you kinda have to go for it since Seraphine and Hecarim are so good together. So they try and take away that possibility from them, as Patate Volante now goes for Skarner.
Yeah, of course, Skarner, one of the other very strong tank junglers, and also a counter pick into Hecarim, and I also think it's a very nice play into Kai'Sa. Of course, Hecarim, he wants to run at you, but if you're Skarner, you just press Alt, and then, well, you can run, but I am deciding where you go. Gnar also being picked up. Aristocrat, they had a nice performance on Gnar in the previous game.
Yes, and I think everything is working fine. We don't see any frame drops just yet, so life is beautiful. And they pick Silas. They pick Silas to steal the Seraphine ultimate away in the mid lane. And yeah, we were talking about Hecarim Seraphine is so good because of that ult combination. Now you still have that ult.
Yeah, of course. And also, you can use the Gnar ult and the Skarner ult. Skarner ult, I don't know how useful that is because you won't have the insane movement speed. But I do feel that the Gnar ult can also be very huge. I think it was once in MSI 2018 or 2019 where Faker stole it and almost 1v5 the team fight against G2. So it's a very strong combination which you can use. Now, Tarek and Rel already being banned away.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to see Rel go again, even though um, Starland decided to ban it. I just don't like the champion enough to be picked up here because there's a lot of good possibilities you have with that Rel.
Yeah, of course, Rel very strong together with Kaisa. Also nice engage and peel against the Skarner, for example. Lucian also banned away. Lucian is not really a champion to be considered very strong, but in certain matchups, or is, for example, in the mid lane against Sylas, it can be very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, and we are gonna see what they're gonna pick now for their fourth. And it's gonna be the Nautilus once more. Nautilus Kaisa, an amazingly strong combination. Nautilus able to proc 3 stacks of the passive Kaisa has just by himself, meaning that a lot of instant damage can go out from the Kaisa.
Yeah, and of course, it's also that engage that you really need against the Seraphine. We now will maybe see Vayne being picked up by a washed up Uzui, living up to his namesake. Of course, Uzi, a really strong Vayne player. I also think it's quite good in this game. It's a nice counter to Kai'Sa because she can out damage Kai'Sa, but it can also work against the melee frontline of Hecarim and Nautilus, where you can just dash around being invisible and then just dealing a lot of damage.
Yeah, and Thresh Vayne now picked up by Starlin, and Vayne is very good into that Nautilus, so that's very nice pickup. And Thresh provides a lot of safety for it as well.
Yeah, of course. Thresh also the Thresh Nautilus matchups is a very famous matchup, and now we might see the Kassadin being locked in, meaning Silas will go to the top lane, but instead it's Twisted Fate for Z, one of his most famous picks.
Yeah, and Silas in the top lane is actually very interesting that he goes against the Gnar there. It is not that bad to be honest, because Silas, you wouldn't expect this, but if Silas finds a good dash onto the Gnar, Silas actually wins those trades.
Yeah, of course, Silas very strong the later on in the game. Early levels he will struggle a lot, I think, against the Gnar because Gnar can just easily poke him down and kite away from him. But once Amibe gets some items under his belt, he will be a terror to deal with in that 1v1 situation. I also think that C will be it will be very fun to see how he does on this Twisted Fate. It's the first time with this qualifier, and I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, his Twisted Fate is very very good. He knows exactly where he needs to be in which situations. One of his most comfortable picks, both in solo queue and in the competitive games he has played so far. So we love to see him on that pick and see if he can actually make a big impact on that champion.
Yeah, of course, Twisted Fate can easily influence all the side lanes, and also one thing that you would not think why it would get picked, it's a counter into Vayne, just because, well, if Vayne wants to go invisible every time she uses with the ult, Twisted Fate uses his own ult, and then you will always keep vision on Vayne, which means that Vayne is a lot less slippery than she might seem to be.
Yeah, and with that rapid fire cannon on Twisted Fate in his third item, giving that long range for stun cards gives even more possibilities for the Hecarim and Nautilus to follow up on that with those ultimates, with those engage tools, and then Kaisa and Silas should be there to clean everything up. Silas can even make sure that engaging is possible. The only bad ultimate to steal for Silas is actually, I think both Vayne and Thresh are not ideal.
Yeah, Thresh ult can do a lot of damage, but I think the Vayne ult you never want to use that. I'm not sure how it works if you actually maybe turn invisible after you use your own Q, but you don't really use anything with it. You only get a bit of movement speed towards enemies. I think it's mainly the Seraphine and the Gnar ults you will be looking for to get some nice combos together with the setup CC from the rest of his team.
Yeah, and in about 1.5 minutes we will go into game, and I think everything is working very fine in the stream. I don't see any drop frames on my laps. I don't see anything complaining in the chat, so we should be going into the game, and after that we'll fix everything else that there is to fix. So thanks for bearing with me, all of you. You're all beautiful people, and yeah, let's go into this game. What do you expect from this composition of Twente?
I think Twente, they want to really just look for picks. They have Nautilus Kaisa, who are able to have a very strong 2v2 lane. Together with Twisted Fate and Hecarim, you can dive the bot lane as well. But you can also run to the top lane, maybe dive the Gnar. You can basically look everywhere where you want with that comp. You have a very long follow-up engage. You have a very strong CC. I do think that the team fight can work out if ABV manages to steal the Seraphine ult, but other than that, I do think that Stardom is favored slightly in the team fights, but not by a lot.
It's very interesting that you say that. I think it's gonna depend heavily on how well the Seraphine executes her abilities, her positioning to be a big influence in those fights. And the same goes for Amy Way and Outsiders, who had a very, very good performance on all his champions today, actually. Even though last game didn't went his way, he has been the MVP in this qualifier, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. He's had very strong showings, being able to either play that karma to perfection or just smack other tanks in a tank matchup or just do really well on carry matchups. He's shown it all, so he has definitely shown that he's one of the up and coming top laners in the Benelux.
And that's a very big and nice compliment for him to have. Somebody should clip that and send it to him, because otherwise he's gonna cry a lot if that's not going to happen. We actually looking now at the runes and masteries here, and we don't see, honestly, don't see anything which is bad.
Yeah, of course, Twisted Fate picking up that unsealed spellbook, it means that he has a bit less damage in lane, but can still just use the different spells very well. Interesting to see Skarner going for the Conqueror instead of the Phase Rush. Usually you see Phase to just take away people really fast, but the Conqueror can be nice in the 1v1s against Hecarim.
Yeah, an unsealed spellbook indeed on the Twisted Fate. Something that he goes for almost every game that he plays that champion. Knows when to change his summoner spells to what he needs in which situations. One of the reasons why Z is a very promising upcoming player.
Yeah, of course, using Twisted Fate is one of those champions that if you are a good Twisted Fate, you can do so much. But now we do see maybe an invade coming out. Washed Up Uzi is sitting in a bush all by himself and will be Slimy Devil running in, gets the ward down, but Washed Up Uzi has to get hit now, flashing away, but gets hit by another couple of stuns already. Full stacks on the Kai'Sa passive, but is able to run away. Nice 4-man route by Amazing Water to slow everyone down, but it's a flash for flash trade.
Yeah,
Uzi.
you're a bit far behind, my friend. You need to speed
Oh,
up.
okay. Then it's okay, yeah, it lagged for me then. Okay, my bad.
It's okay, I didn't want to interrupt you right there, but Skarner and Gnar were waiting in the bush with the red buff, giving the kill onto Hecarim, but now here Amy Vey is. Skarner gets the smite onto the red buff, and now Amy Vey is very low, doesn't have abilities left, has a flash over the wall itself. If only he killed the red buff by auto-attacking, it would have been so great, but now he had to burn flash, walks in lane with almost no HP, and it is looking already very bad if you are Twente.
Yeah, a very good start then by Stardom. They got 2 flashes for only the flash from Vayne in that invade, and then to get a kill and a red buff stolen and another flash taken away. It looks like a whole team fight happened. That many flashes have already been burned this early on in the game.
And I would like to inform you that we have 0 drop frames, so we are back in action, baby! Okay. Now in the bot lane, it is normally a matchup that would go in favor of Twente. Not gonna lie, with it Kai'Sa and Nautilus, but Vayne having that CS lead is very small, so nothing very much in particular, and Nautilus having to burn his flash already.
Yeah, Aristocratic tanking his third shot, but he's already level 3 as compared to level 1 from Amy. But now QTKT in the bot lane, already flay used by Grancer flashes away, but it's already full passive stacks. Exhaust goes down to block some damage, but it's still going to be Ignite and will probably be enough. But Mechanics is almost dead. Grincer managed to survive, and now TP going in from Aristocratic, running, flashing onto Mechanics. Heal comes down, kill for Aristocratic. Now QTKT tries to get a trade kill onto Washed-Up Uzui, he gets it. Grinzer picks up the second kill, and it's a 2-for-1 trade. TP burned by Aristocratic.
And this is so unlucky, I have to say. This is not how you want to start this possibly final game. If you lose this game, it's over and you lose the semi-final. So you have to be aware of things that can happen here. And Trash barely surviving with that Trash barely surviving with that ignite proc. Very unfortunate on the side of Twente. And now you're looking at a 1.5k gold deficit already.
Yeah, it was a very nicely used exhaust by Washed-Up Uzui to block the full passive damage from Kai'Sa, and also a lot of Q missiles being blocked means that, yeah, then actually you don't have as much damage as you think. The Ignite was just off. I think if Slimy Devil was one level higher, it would have done enough damage. In top lane, it does mean now that Aristocratic burning his TP means that AMV can get a bit more lane prio. But after basing, he only has a Doran's Ring, while Aristocratic comes back with an Iron Spike Wisp.
Yeah, that's already a very good pickup, and Gnar is now gonna dominate that laning phase pretty well. Silas is a good answer into the Gnar, but when you're behind already in like 4 minutes, it's gonna be rough to make that priority happen for you.
Yeah, of course, now Gnar also building up large fish. It's going to be a very difficult lane for Amiway to play out. A big CS lead also for Patete Volante in the jungle. QTKT, he really wants to be the one actually having the lead, but with Potato Volante already being this far up, means that I actually would favor Skarner in the 1v1s.
Yeah, right now it is looking very good if you are a fan of Starlon. You have to leave whatever you want to, but the dragon goes to the way of Twente, and that's where you want to focus on, as Skarner is now perhaps ganking top lane. Still level 5 onto the Gnar, but can he find that stun? And maybe have that lifesteal on the W, and it's actually a very good trade. He might actually kill someone here. Another tower shot comes in, but that's a bit more than he could shoot, but he gets a 1-for-1 trade, and a 1-for-1 trade is in this case a very good trade for you if you are Silas.
Yeah, and you still have the TP, so you can get back to lane in time to actually catch the whole minion wave, which means you basically lose nothing. Getting that extra gold is very huge for being able to survive the lane for a bit longer. I do think, though, Aristocrata, he managed to get a way better buy. Instead of anyway, he got an Amplifying Tome and a Cloth Armor, while Aristocrata manages to buy a whole Kindle Gem.
Yeah, that's very nice. Gnar is gonna have that upper hand, especially when he gets level 6, and Skarner is probably gonna focus that top lane more and more how further this game goes, because it's very easy to get a pick right there.
Yeah, of course, being able to set up those dives with Potato Volante being already up there, it was very close for AMV. Bit too many tower shots tanked by Aristocrate and Potato Volante, but now we see bot lane Hook coming down onto Slimy Devil.
Yeah, it's not that much damage, just a little bit of poke. They don't want anything to do with that, as Potato Volante is cleaning out the vision provided by QTKT in his own jungle. And to be honest, at first I thought this is looking very bad. It's not that bad. There are still a lot of opportunities for you to win this game as Twente.
Yeah, of course, you still have that pick potential that you can use even when behind to just get some more gold. With the Twisted Fate and the Nautilus Assault, you can choose who to CC and who to get the shutdown now. We now see AMA going in, stealing the Gnar ult, using it to already get some damage. Now Aristocrate has tried to kite away towards the third of AMA. Twisted Fate ult being used, and it's going to be a nice free kill for Z.
And I want to shout out Amy Way once again how well he played that. He positioned himself on the other side of the minions, knowing Gnar would use the hop to try and double hop away, and right at that moment he used his E to negate him from doing so. And that is just, again, very well played by Amy Way, and he has his best qualifier up until now.
Yeah, being able to really go from only playing tanks to now playing carries and support in the top lane, it really shows versatility. That's also why I said why he is one of the up and coming top laners in the Benelux. Because at a high level, instead of just needing to play one playstyle, you need to be able to play everything, and Amy Way is definitely showing that.
Yeah, you'll love to see it, and Z is now building a Kindle Gem and an Amplifying Tome, and I know what that means. He is going for the new Twisted Fate build, and that is THRLL on Twisted Fate.
Yeah, THRLL means that instead of the Protobelt speed up, which did get nerfed, you get a full on team speed up, which means, well, it's not only you who gets to stun someone, the rest of your team just gets to follow up with it. And it's also a way cheaper item, which means that you get the power spike a lot earlier on in the game.
Exactly, and it's very fun to see those things come out of it now. And of course, Twisted Fate's main job is not to provide the damage. He wants to provide the CC with a stun card, lock someone down, and look for those picks together with his ultimate. So it's very nice to see that he can buy an item that helps him doing so.
Yeah, definitely the Seeker's Arm Guard, of course, one of the most gold efficient items, but he has to be careful. Cutie Katie now also in the top side. Aristocratic gets pushed under the turret. Very well done by Cutie Katie, and it's another kill picked up against Aristocratic.
Yeah, and here you see the power of Silas very much. Like, if he gets bursted down, he's waiting with his W to heal a huge amount back, and Cutie Katie coming along, helping his buddy out, and grabbing the kill for himself. And he is now back in the game.
Yeah, definitely being able to, after a poor start where he was already level 1 to level 3, being pushed under his turret, now being able to really pick yourself up and get those 1v1s down together with your jungler or mid laner roaming up. It's very well done. Now, yeah, it's in the jungle. It's still a bit of a CS lead for Patate Volante, but QTKT has definitely been doing stuff with his hacker and pick, being able to secure kills for his teammates.
Yeah, and Shiralias is now completed for Z. Very nice pickup right there, and a very cheap mythic as well. So he can do the things Twisted Fate likes best, which is trying to get a pick, as Skarner is moving here, clearing the vision out for the next dragon to spawn. And let me grab that timer up. It's gonna spawn in 3 seconds.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. Dragon spawns, and it will not get started up immediately. Starden chooses to clear out some vision first. They do have prio everywhere, but now it is Westshop Uzi still sitting alone in the bot lane. Has to be careful to not get jumped on. It seems that QTKT wants to just trade the dragon for the Herald. Of course, THRLL already have one dragon, so you don't really mind giving up a second Drake if you can get the Herald for yourself.
And Amy Way now trading here in the top side, seeing Gnar ultimate as well. Cutie Katie is coming back out, flashing and ulting Gnar back into Cutie Katie, which immediately goes with the dash. Now flash forward from Slimy Devil, hitting that Nautilus ultimate. Mechanics going to the other side, hitting the Q, still isolated damage. Amazingly played by Twente, and Z is there, but it did not need it at all, as he just says hi and goodbye and walks back to his lane.
That was just perfectly played by Slimy Devil and Mechanics with the Nautilus ult onto Vayne. Vayne cannot get away from that. Then a very good follow-up from Mechanics, hitting the W on long range and then ulting in, using the Q and proccing the passive for some damage. And with a perfect max range hook from Slimy Devil meant that the kill was secured.
And that's very nice, and the game is looking better and better for Twente now. With a devastating first minute of the game, they've bounced back quite well, and Silas and Hackerim can now have a dominating presence, as Skarn is looking here in mid lane, has flash available, but is not going for the flash ultimate just yet.
Yeah, of course, Twisted Fate can always prep the gold card, and if you see a Skarner running at you, you just throw a gold card at him and you will be safe for a bit. Now it's Mechanic's turn to be alone under the turret, but I do think that Grindster and Washup Lucy have a bit less goal pressure. But Potato Volante is right here, dropping the Herald first, and they will start to look for the first turret.
Yeah, and that will be a lot of gold funneled into Vayne as well, and it's very good for Starland right now. They don't manage to kill the tower just yet though, and a hook from Slimy Devil barely misses onto Grindazer. And that would have been a good fight for them, as QT Katie is waiting in the backline. Mechanics now is getting hooked. QT Katie popping the ghost, ulting forward the unstoppable onslaught, knocking back the Vayne, and that's already a very low Vayne, almost dead here. And Z is also there to join the party. Stun card comes on the Trash, and Trash and Vayne are both dead. Now Seraphine joins the party as well. Potato Volanda tries to run away for what he can. CC card coming in, and that's another kill going over to Z, and that's 3 kills for Twente. And anyway, once more, dashing forward, ulting Seraphine to try and get it away. Seraphine steals ultimate, missing the Seraphine ultimate by a flash away from Seraphine herself. And now, instead of the tower going over to THRLL Gaming, they're gonna take a tower for themselves.
A couple extra kills, you will definitely take that. It was QTKT just missing the ult, but still being able to run behind, washed up Uzui, knocking him back into his own team. Then the Knight with some follow-up damage from Mechanics meant that QTKT could take down Uzui immediately. Then was Slimy Devil hooking Grindizar, killing him together with MC, who just ulted in, and then TP behind everyone from Amy, being able to run them down, and that's 4 kills and a turret for Twente.
Yeah, and Twente bouncing back quite well after their first loss of this entire qualifier, wanting to show like, hey, even if we lose, we can come back stronger and better, and that's exactly what they're doing right now.
Yeah, definitely. Now it is still QTKT after a bit of a rough early game. Now 4-1, and now even in farm as well, picking up the Divine Sunner, which is just such a strong item on the Hecarim. Now Washed Up Uzui has to be careful because he gets ulted by 3 people. Now it's Grindster all by himself, and he has nowhere to go. Third is already that THRLL gets procced, and it's a hook from the dead, which will not be able to save anyone.
And that's a double kill for Mechanics, and again, very well layered the CC that they provide. The Z coming in with the ultimate as well, and this is what I mean with Z on his Twisted Fate pick. He is there whenever there is an opportunity. And if you have Prio, if you're THRLL and you have Prio in a lane, you actually don't, because Twisted Fate is about to show up in your lane.
Yeah, Prio just means more space for Twisted Fate to ult towards, which Z has been doing to perfection. And also very well communication with his team to be able to say, okay, you go in, and then I ult right when you hit the hook. That is exactly what you have to do. If you ult too early, the enemy team will just disengage and run away. But if you are already in that fight, before you lose the fight, then it's just very well played by Z and the rest of his team.
And now we're going to look at the items from THRLL right now. I see Moonstone Renewer completed on Seraphine, and Gnar already has the Executioners, so to negate a little bit of the healing that Sidus does with his W. So at least they have the Grievous Wounds pickup already.
Yeah, definitely getting the Grievous Wounds against the healing from, for example, QT, KT, and Amy, which in a late game will be completely disgusting. You don't want that to happen, so it's nice to see healing reduction, but now a fight happening.
Yeah, Seraphine ultimate going down. Slimy Devil is already dead. The super onslaught coming in. 4 people get hit by Emil. The Gnar is big and the Gnar is strong. And double kill get picked up by him. And now the enemy Gnar is going to dash forward. Can get that kill onto Mechanics. Is very low. Z flashing forward, hitting Gnar with the stun card, and that's a dead Gnar as well. QTKT dodging the hook from Thresh, having that E available, and almost can find it. Zhonya's delays it a little bit, and they can't find the kill into Thresh. But Emil, you are smurfing so hard this tournament.
Yeah, a 4-for-3 trade. It was almost a disaster for THRLL, losing Slimy Devil very early on in the fight with it by a very nice Seraphine ult from Amazing Water. But then Amy jumping in with that stolen Gnar ult, slamming 2 people against the wall, 2 more in the open arms of his team. And then QTKT with a very nice Hecarim ult on top to layer DCC, kill everyone. Mechanics trying to deal a lot of damage as well, but sadly gets taken out by Aristocrate. But Aristocrate then has nowhere to run after he just chases him down with the Shurelias.
That was just such a great fighting, and Mechanics did drop though, which means that the fight in the end was a bit iffy, because Mechanics is your main damage source. Z is there to provide for a lot of stuns, for a lot of CC. Hecarim has the good initiation, but in that fight, Slimy Devil was instantly dead, and they still almost won dominantly. So only imagine if Nautilus is actually there.
Yeah, of course, Nautilus was unable to really provide any CC for Mechanics to proc stacks even faster. But luckily he had the rest of his team to do that. AMV trying to get another all in the bot lane, but Aristocrate jumps in, jumps out just in time. Uh, Rift Herald now spawning, Baron in 2 minutes, Dragon in 4 minutes.
Yeah, and they're probably gonna put prio on that dragon, but Rift Herald is up now for grabs. I don't think they actually want to go for that right now, as AMV is looking for a trade with the Gnar. And if you see Silas, you just want to play that champion. He's so fun. But Z is now looking for the ultimate. The W gets a little bit of healing and Gnar stuns him into the wall. But that's what you get. You're a little bit too far up and then you die because Z is there again with the stun card, with the CC. Always happy to help in the side lanes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. You take, oh, well, first in the top lane, we've seen engage onto Amazing Water. It's Mechanics going in for the solo kill and gets it. But what I was talking about, when you have a Twisted Fate on your team, you kind of want to take those fights. Okay,
As the
well,
Banshee comes
another
in
fight
right
in the
now.
mid lane.
As Skarner has an ultimate onto Z. Z is very low, but he's still alive. Vayne cannot fight the execute quite yet, and he delayed long enough. QTKT now unstoppable onslaught goes in. Vayne flash condemning QTKT into the wall, gets flayed back, and Vayne is kiting. Vayne is killing, but drops down in the end as well. AMV here now, putting that box down, and Mechanics is here to join for the fight as well. Trash flashing forward, missing the hook. AMV now gets the kill on the retreat. Aristocrat now needs to run for his life, as well as Skarner, and they manage to finally get those kills. And that's the end of that huge scrimmage in the mid lane.
Yeah, it was a lot of nice individual plays, but it's not yet over because AMV chasing down Potato Volante, not being able to hit the stuns Potato Volante very fast, of course, because it is a Skarner pick. But there, first, a very nice hook from Grindster with a nice follow. Then it was QTKT jumping in onto Wash Up Uzui, but Uzui having a condemn E. Okay, I just don't think I can ever talk about any nice plays because they will keep fighting. And another gold card hits on the Aristocratic Potato Volante is already on the flank position. Gets almost taken down, but first Mechanics goes down. C is also down. It is a 4v0 trade for THRLL.
They didn't go base, they didn't spend their golds, and when they get caught like that, that's a losing fight. QTKT also wasn't there, and Baron is now up as well. Meaning that they can just take that for themselves. And what looked amazing for Twente, they just stay around for too long and they give up a very major objective.
Yeah, of course. It's another where they go a bit too far. You TP into the fight, but the rest of your team has not based yet. They don't have the new items they could buy, which means you just lack damage. If you then go for the engage and it does not work, you don't get the kill immediately. Potato Volante just flashing on top of Mechanics and Z, being able to stun both of them. Slimy Devil tries to protect them, gets taken out by himself, or for himself, and then it's Envy in the middle of 4 people, trying to steal the Seraphine ult and doing something with it, but he gets taken down before it even fires off.
Yeah, and this is basically the story of the first game as well. They get the lead for themselves, they're doing quite well, but one fight that they miscalculate, and they lose so much on the backhand of it. So let's hope they can actually bounce back this game.
Yeah, of course, they do indeed. They fell behind in the early game and then got back into the game, and now they are starting to fall behind again, but they just look for more picks. Potato Volante is very tanky though, so they have to be careful. And Slimy Devil, well, you got the hook onto Skarner, but you don't deal damage, and then you get pulled in towards the enemy team. That is not what you want to see.
There's just not enough damage to one-shot that Skarner in one go. That's not the target you should be looking for, but actually surprisingly a little amount of damage. I would have expected a little bit more onto the side of Twente, but it goes to show how strong of a pick Skarner is when ahead. Oh, now they're looking at a fight again here. Mechanics and AMV are a little bit far up. Help comes in and the ultimate from Seraphine barely misses. If that hit, then the game might have been over as he can just run it down. They're opting to go for the dragon right now. And the Slimy Devil has respawned as well.
Yeah, of course. Now it's still both teams very even in gold, but it's also very even in drakes. It's going to be a very close game for the foreseeable future. A lot of people, a lot of fights, very fun to see. But I think if you're a Twente fan, yeah, fights are fun to see, but not if you're always losing them.
Skarner doesn't have the ultimate available yet. Blocks the hook from Slimy Devil, but he is on the tower right now. Takes a lot of hits, but that's not enough. He still lives. The healing from Seraphine comes in as well. He just won't die, and that is a tower for Twente in the top side in the meantime. But they need to wait out this Baron before they can do anything. Oh, Shiraya is now coming down. Stun Guard is available. That box is pressed down, but he cannot find the angle quite yet. Had to reposition, so he couldn't go there.
Yeah, of course. Now it's it's looking more and more grim for Twente. Of course, they really want to get into the finals for the last qualifier they play. They already are qualified for the closed circuit, but if they manage to get into the finals, they can get a top 4 seed, which will help with site selection in the closed circuit. For now, though, they just have to take their mind off it a bit. Don't worry too much about not getting into finals. Just focus on this game. Don't walk up, look for super desperate picks. Just play like you've always been playing in the past games. Play it a bit more quiet down. Look for those good team fights that you know you can win.
Yeah, they need to go on to their strengths indeed. Maybe they even just need to look for picks with Z again at the Twisted Fate ultimate as they're moving to the bottom lane right now. They see that Seraphine was top, so they might look for something here. TP is available for Seraphine, however. It's very sneaky. They're coming on the backside of Vayne, and they found the pick onto the Vayne. Vayne is almost dead. Yeah, one shot immediately by Z, and now Thresh is next to the chopping board. Try to flash away for dear life, but cannot manage to do so. In the end, will go down by the hands of QT Katie, and that's 2 kills for Twente, and they get Prior for themselves now.
That was exactly what I was talking about. Look for those a bit more secure picks, especially on the Vayne. You can easily kill them. Now, Amy gets ulted, but there is no follow-up coming down from Aristocrat. And even more kills now for Mechanics, picking up the big shutdown on Potato Volante. 700 gold for him. Now they are TPing into the mid lane to push down mid turrets.
Yeah, they find 3 quick kills actually. Nar managed to get away. Now they have to prio over the lanes, trying to push out those towers, get a little bit of gold back for themselves, and that's what they're doing right now. Seraphine is still a dangerous champion with the ultimate still available, and don't make the same mistake like last time. Please go base and spend your gold.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to overstay and then lose those fights because that it's just not gonna work like that. Just look for more picks onto Vayne. You've already killed Vayne 7 times. You've shown that you can do it. Then instead of looking for a pick onto Skarner, who's way too tanky, if you just kill Vayne at the start of a fight, then the only real damage source on the side of Starlin is Aristocrate, and he can get his seat very easily.
Yeah, that was what you needed to do. Find that picks that we were talking about, and Z did just that. A sort of Fnatic Dead Bush, a little bit of a delay with it, but they did quite well. As the next Drake is about to spawn in 1 minute and 40 seconds. No soul point yet, because they both got 2 Drakes. But an Ocean Soul is very good to grab for both sides actually.
Yeah, of course, both sides just want to have a bit prolonged fights where the healing from an Ocean Soul can be very huge. For example, a Hacker and a Silence who already have a lot of healing in their kits to get even more, means that they can just go in 1v3 and be able to heal most of their HP back up. They do have to be careful though, because anti-heal is already being bought on the side of Stardom. One thing that's very interesting, if you look at Potato Volante's build, he has bought 2 Kindle Gems.
Yeah, even more health going over to him. Also the ability haste is very nice, as maybe we can find a pick fight here. Flash coming down onto Thresh, and that's already a dead Thresh. One great pick to be found there, and may even turn to the Baron now with the support gone. They don't have a lot of setup anymore. Their only setup is Skarner and Nara running in, and then your backline is completely unprotected. We have 5v4 right here. I think that they're baiting it. They're baiting it. Slimy Devil is looking if he can find it. Baron is already very low. 2k down on the Baron, and they got it for themselves. Maybe they look for a fight right now. Z teleporting with his ultimate. Gets to turn onto Nar, and it's a little bit of damage. And Mechanics dashes in forward now. Find all the stacks, and great damage done. QTKD picks up the kill with Nar, and they're looking for more. The Ocean Drake is about to spawn as well, and they will get this probably uncontested.
Aristocrat went a bit too far again. We already saw it once in the bot lane. He goes for the 1v1, which he should be able to win. But then, as soon as he commits into it, the rest of THRLL just shows up, take him down, and it's 3 Drakes and a Baron and 2 more kills for the side of THRLL. They are definitely looking good again.
Yeah, and they bounced back twice now this game, and let's hope they can keep this momentum up and don't fall behind again. Seraphine ultimate now on Amy Vey, and that's something you actually want to use quite fast because it's such an amazing ult to combine with Hecarim.
Yeah, of course, but I think they just stole it so they could safely take the Baron, because when you have that Seraphine ult, it means that no one can really walk into face check because everyone will just get charmed up immediately. Um, Now it's all four of Starland are now running around as a group form, looking if someone is still being a bit too greedy, looking for some jungle vision on their own side and get some picks.
Yeah, and we look at the build of Silas, and we see Void Staff and Oblivion Orb both completed, so that's a lot of damage that he can do now into tanks. Leander's Anguish, he had that already, which is also great, and Oblivion Orb denying a little bit of the healing Seraphine will do. So overall, a great decisions for Amy Bay in this building pattern.
Yeah, definitely. That does mean that indeed he gets a bit tankier with the Zonias, which helped him a lot early game, and now with the Void Staff means he will do a lot of damage to the tanky boys from Starland. Now he does seem to be caught out a bit.
Yeah, Skarner flashing forward, ulting, but he gets away with an E flash himself. It was a little bit too fast. He couldn't follow up with enough CC, and that's a big cooldown gone for Starlon. Now you actually want to engage those fights, because if Skarner doesn't have ultimate, Mechanics can have a free poking life.
Yeah, of course, they first want to just take down the mid turret. They have Baron buff, so can take down turrets very fast, and now are looking to rotate to bot lane and maybe look for a pick during the rotation, as maybe someone swats a bit far. Nargold has been stolen. Amy Bay is tanking the turret. That's not what you want. You get stunned up, hooked. Nice Zonya's though to dodge everything, and now it's the Shreddier spot. Stun already down on Thresh, and no committing there. But now it's Skarner. Interrupt Potato Volante tries to jump with the Blasco, but he gets still on top by QTKT. Now kill one, not number one from Mechanics. Ult coming down onto Amazing Water from Slimy Devil. Hook hitting the wall. Nothing more for now, but it's already a 1 kill lead, and they still have Baron, so they can look for more turrets.
Yeah, and Amy Bay still having that Gnar ultimate available for him, so if Starling Gaming walks up a little bit too much, he can use that instantly to try and re-engage onto them. But that was again very well played by Amy Bay, pressing that Zhonya just in time so that he did not get hit by the Seraphine ultimate. And with those ultimates down from the Skarner and the Seraphine at the time, you basically have a free hand to deal whatever you would like to do.
Yeah, of course, because that's the main thing that the comp of Starland wants. But now Amy Bay does go a bit too far, almost takes down Uzui, but gets taken down, giving the shutdown over to Vayne. That's not really what you want, but it is what you want if you're gonna trade it for an inhib. Mechanics and Slimy Devil just taking down the inhib. State of Volante can walk up and ult someone, but well, ulting when you're alone does not do much. TP in from Aristocrate though means that Potato Volante now running into Slimy Devil, but I think Slimy Devil will just open up all chat and say #Worth inhib
Yeah.
for 2 kills. I would take that trade.
It was a very good decision for Slimy Devil. In this case, he just wants to give his life, walk up to the Scar and auto attack him so he doesn't get onto Mechanics. Because if Mechanics is that, that's not what you want, because then you will lose every goddamn fight.
Yeah. Of course, Mechanics now the main damage source. The C, QTKT, and AV also deal damage, but it's the straight up single target burst from Mechanics that which is a it's really difficult to deal with if you are starting the gaming club, because you need to get that flash ult onto Mechanics, but he has a QSS, so he will say, well, you ult me. Well, no, you don't, because I have a QSS, which means that he is very slippery. He can also turn invisible every couple of seconds with his E, of course, and then deal so much damage with 4 items already being completed.
Yeah, and there's one other major factor being pointed out in chat as well. The teleports of Seraphine and Nora have both been used already, and Silas and Z still have those teleports available, so there's a lot of priority that they can get by roaming on the map and using those to their advantage. Maybe they're looking for a fight right now. There are 5 people grouped up. They want this dragon because that's gonna be Soul. Slimy Devil barely misses the hook, and Aristocrat is stacking up the Gnar bar, and Gnar ult is getting stolen again by Amy Vey. So that's gonna be great for a possible fight. Hecarim now walking forward. Sunkard hitting out the Aristocrat. Aristocrat might be looking for a fight himself here. Gnarbar is completed. He has flash available. Flashing forward, hitting 2 people into the wall. And Subtle Onslaught comes in front. Aristocrat is already losing a very lot of HP. Seraphine ultimate come down, hitting 2 people with the charm. And QTKD is running for his life, trying to stay alive as well. Watch Shabuzi on the vein. Dies now himself. Mechanics dashing forward. Has no fear. Z coming as well. And that is all the kills that Twente need. Everybody is dead on the side of Starland except for the Gnar. And that's going to be one final push for Twente to tie up the series and possibly go through to the entirety of this qualifier.
Yeah, a very well played team fight by the side of Twente. They got hit by most ultimates, but the Gnar ult did not hit the wall. The Seraphine ult did not hit the carries, it only hit the front line. So, well, it might look good for Starland. Its mechanics untouched in that fight, dealing so much damage and being able to win the game.
Yes, and that is so good from the side of Twente. They were careful in the later stages of the game. Even though level 1 went very bad for them, they still managed to come out on top. I'm trying to fix the camera for the next pick and ban phase, so we have that coming. And oh my god, what a game. That was amazing.
That was a very fun to watch game. Very well played by THRLL. They of course fell behind early on in the game, and then to be able to regroup themselves, get back into the game, and then disappointingly fall back actually again. And then to still have that mental edge to get back in the game again for a second time, that's very impressive to see.
Yeah, not only once but twice that they fell behind. But it's so good to see that they can actually regroup from that previous segment and still be there to come out on top, find the fights they were looking for. And once again, I have to give credit to Amy Ray. He has had such an amazing performance his entire qualifier, and with those clutch Gnar ultimates that he stole and turned the team fights into their favor, he definitely deserves to be at least taken into account if you're Starland.
Yeah, definitely very well played. After having such a rough early game, to then create his very hard losing lane into a winning lane, that's something not a lot of top laners can do. So very well played, of course, by him. But of course, he started, even though they lost this game, they also looked very strong.
They are in fact looking very strong. We're going into the custom right now. People are slowly joining. Most of the time we have like a 4 or 5 minute break in between the games to calm down a bit, talk about what happened, and see if we can go and give out the same performance. In this game we probably will have side selection again, and I would not be surprised if we actually go for a red side. So yeah, I don't know what to say, man. Like, that was the most exciting game from Twente I've seen probably in all of the qualifiers.
Yeah, it was a very nice game to see. It was a back forth game. You don't have that often at such a high level, but it was not because it was a clown fiesta. It was just because both teams were playing very well and able to see, okay, well, you are too far up, and then we punish you, and then it's the other way around, and then again and again. So it was very well played by both teams, and then with THRLL coming out on top, definitely great to see.
Quickly posting it, the stream is working again. THRLL Academy Twente versus Starland. Luckily everything is working once more like it should be. And what we can take away from this game, which is a very interesting fact, Starland had the lead early. They were anticipating what was going to happen in level 1, and they were very proactive in trying to counteract that, and they managed to do it, but they still fell behind after that. What do you think is the main cause of that?
I think they just did not respect the Twisted Fate ultimate that much, because they kept just going in. They thought, okay, well, this is a 1v1, I can win. But then Z being able to time those Twisted Fate ults perfectly to just show up right in the middle of a Gnar jump or Vayne tumbling in or something like that. It was just perfectly played by Z to then be able to teleport behind the enemies, stun them, and create more kills for his team.
Also, you said you had the stream on your second screen. Please let me know if anything is not working the way it should.
Yeah, for now it seems to be going fine.
Great, great, great. It's very good to be back and everything working properly. Just had to restart, that was the issue. Yeah, in this next game, I'd love to see Emil again not on tank duty. I want Emil on a carry champion. I want to see him on the Silas, on the Aatrox, on something along those lines, maybe a Camille even, because he has been the carry of this entire weekend.
Yeah, of course he's been had one tank game, I think like 3 or 4 Karma games, and then one Aatrox game where he went 907. Then one Nar game where he created a 2k gold lead after 15 minutes, and now this Silas performance, he's just been playing it perfectly on these carry champions.
And we see a bit of an awkward sequence happening here in Champion Select as people are not in their main positions and they can't roll swap anymore because the client is full. So we'll see how they're gonna fix that in just a second, but that will be fine. They are smart enough to fix that themselves if they're even going to. And I just can't wait for them to finally go into the final. A place that, to be honest, what I think they deserve. I've been casting all of the games so far in every qualifier right now, and I think they've done themselves too little, if that's the right expression to use here. They are way better than the standing that they actually are showing here. Because even if they win it all, they won't end up first in the final standings. They will end up, I think, either third or fourth. But they are showing that they are actually a very big force to be reckoned with and can go along together with the likes of Four Elements, Starlon, and probably also Nerf Guild Force.
Yeah, of course. It's the that's the. It's just that we've not seen that much indeed from Nerf Guildforce. They have only played in the first 2 qualifiers, and then were basically guaranteed a spot in the closed circuit. So then they just decided to take it easy. So we've not really seen what they can do. We have seen now that THRLL can definitely match up against the other big teams of Starland and Scuttle Squad. So it's definitely looking exciting for the closed circuit.
Yeah, and if you can do me a favor and look at the other semi-final, can you tell me what the standing is start there?
Right now it's 1-0 for Echo Zulu Tribe, and they are still on the second game against Dynasty. That's on stream. I might just look at the website and see if the game has already ended. Yeah, okay. The game has already ended. So if you're, oh wait, no, I should not. No, I should not spoil. I won't spoil anything for the people that are also watching the other stream.
You can DM it to me on Discord because that's
Yes.
I would very much like to know that because I don't want to be rude and I'm not underestimating anyone, but in that semifinal, Akazuda Tribe against Dynasty Academy, what we have seen so far, we can confidently say that those teams are both, don't want to say worse, but have shown less good things during the entirety of this tournament. So I almost want to say, again, I don't want to cast a curse it, that that final would be easier than this semi-final.
Yeah, of course. Sometimes you have that, of course, when it is a bracket like this with no loser bracket, then sometimes you have the real final being in the semifinal. But what it really shows is who is the strongest team each week. That is just, you need to get first. You can't say, well, no, I lost against the winners in the semifinal, so I'm second best. You're only second best if you are actually the second place because you just need to win. Um, Okay, now I see that the game has ended on my other screen. So it is Echo Zulu winning 2-0 against Dynasty, which means that we won't see a rematch from the group phase in the finals if THRLL were to get to the finals. But if it might be a rematch for a third place.
Yeah, and if you're Starlon right now, this is your sixth game of the day already, and for Twente, it's only the fifth one. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that game is actually a very big factor. And you might ask why. If you have to go to 3 games, it's not only oh you have to play one more game and win. It's also a very mental thing because you still need to focus on every game an equal amount. And in the last game, there's a lot of pressure to actually go through. For Starlon, it might be a little bit less because they are already qualified before even starting today. But there's still something mentally that's like, so we are not winning in such a dominating fashion.
Yeah, of course. I think Stardom, they have nothing to lose. They have already secured a top four seed. Winning this last qualifier is just for the style points because I don't think there's any difference between first to fourth seed coming into the closed circuit. So for them, it's just good practice getting more things. While Thrill, they are definitely trying to fight for the top four seed position, which will give you more side selection in the closed circuit.
And we see the exact same bets going through, but now the Katarina is gone as well. They don't want to play against it ever again. And again, the first pick Seraphine on the side of Starland Gaming. And it makes you think, are we going to see the same two picks again?
I mean, the Kaisa's here, the Hecarim is here. So far, it's the same.
But Silas, that's the question. If they are going for the same picks like last time, and I believe that was a Skarner, Dan, and a Gnar, if you pick those two champions and you pick Silas again, that's looking pretty good for Twente.
Yeah, I do think that if you then pick Silas, it does mean that the Twisted Fate will get banned because they're not gonna leave it open a second time. It's almost never left open for Z, and he showed why. He is just so good at timing those ultimates and creating leads for his own team. So, but we could also always see maybe it being picked away now, so Z doesn't get it at all.
That would mean Seraphine would go either support or ADC, but it's again Skarner, Gnar, but now in a different order, Gnar, Skarner. And are you gonna pick Silas or are you gonna pick Twisted Fate here? What do Twente prioritize?
I think you would want to just go for the Twisted Fate
Oh, well,
because
I disagree.
but they go for the styles. Okay, I think Twisted Fate. It's just Z showed that he is so good at it that it's definitely one of the win conditions because he can just create kills for his team. Silas Emu had a very good showing, but there are other carry champions you can do that, especially against the Gnar. I think Aatrox could work. Maybe you could go back to the Karma. You already have the Hecarim. It works well against the Gnar, but they instead just decide, yeah, okay, we will go for the Sidus now. Twist Fate gets banned.
And the reason I disagree with that, I think Silas is the better option here because you can flex it in mid and in top, so you still have that pick available, and you can decide if you actually want to play it against the Gnar or not. And Nautilus gets picked up as well, so we almost have the same composition, but Twisted Fate cannot be the round out mid laner. And I think you are right though, depending on what they pick here, if it's a Videos, it's going to be a trash, and meaning Seraphine will go mid. And then Sidus can go either mid or top, but I would suggest Sidus going mid and then a fighting top laner like an Aatrox or a Camille on top.
Instead, they go for the Tristana, which in the early days of Kai'Sa was always seen as the counter to Kai'Sa because you can jump on Kai'Sa and out DPS or win the fight. And then if they pick a Blitzcrank, I think that Blitzcrank is very ballsy here to pick. Of course, you can get very good hooks onto Silas or Kai'Sa, but you give a very strong ultimate over to Silas. Plus, if you ever hook Nautilus, you don't ever want that to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And Blitzing going over to them is it's a pick that you always have to take into consideration. Even though if you're like 0 and 10 behind, you can still change the entire course of the game with one good hook onto a carry. But luckily Mechanics has a lot of actual mechanics, and we see a tank for Emil. But why?
Well, it was the tank where he had a very good performance on earlier on yesterday against the Malphite was then, but we now see that it's actually C hovering the Scion, so we might still see Emil on the carry.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually the case, because Z is actually known for his Scion mid pick as well. He has played that a couple of times, also in solo queue I believe he does it on occasion. And if you live and you don't die in the first like 5 minutes against Seraphine, I don't think she ever has kill pressure on you.
No, she definitely has not, and it also means that there is another target for Blitzcrank that he never wants to hook. If you hook the Scion, then well, what are you going to do? There's a gigantic monster in the middle of your team that also deals a lot of damage, which you really don't want near your carries.
No, and it's a very interesting adaptation. Instead of going for the Twisted Fate, which was of course banned. I think you have two main options to go for then, and then you have the Cyan, which is a great roaming champion, and you have Galio, which is also an interesting champion because it still has a lot of roam abilities. It's decently strong against the Seraphine, but they opt for the Cyan instead.
Yeah, of course, the Scion, if it's a comfort pick and you know those limits of him, he can be very strong, especially in the mid lane. Usually, mid laners don't know the matchup as well as top laners do, for example. So then you can use the Q hit, abuse the Q hitbox, which is a bit weird, and try to maybe get some damage. Sometimes you even see Science going for solo kills with a very strong combo of the ultimate and then the W and Q, but it also is just such a strong front line with the comp that Stardom has. It's going to be difficult for them to get through.
It's very difficult indeed, and I'm a little theory crafting in my head right now, and actually think Cyan works fine because he's just not going to die and can provide a lot of peel. But I honestly think Galio was better here, especially with the Blitzcrank on the opposing side. If one of your carries gets hooked, you can immediately press R on them and just follow up and try to help them out as well as possible. But they opt for the Sign instead, which also provides a lot of utility for Z, a lot of roam potential. So I guess it's fine, but I'm just curious to see why they chose for Sign instead of Galio. And hopefully after this game, after this win, hopefully, we can talk about we can talk with either Z or someone else from the player roster about their decision here.
Yeah, of course, Galio could be very strong together with a Hecarim ult wombo combo or a Kai'Sa flying in. Can be very nice, but Sion, yeah, it's for a bit for a different place. So instead of going for that full on dive, Sion will provide a better front line, a bit more peel, and like the engage that they need because a Hecarim running at someone can get ulted away by Tristana immediately. Sion does not have that problem. When he is in his ult, he is unstoppable. He will just run at your carries and force them to flash away or jump away or whatever, and he can easily start a fight.
Yeah, there are a lot of possibilities for them, and Silas can once again steal the Seraphine and the Gnar ultimate, both great for him. And now he has a Blitzcrank ultimate as well. And to be honest, that's underrated because if Silas flashes forward with the Blitz ultimate and silences everyone, that's a small window for Twente to do whatever they feel like.
Plus, it's a one-to-one AP scaling. If you get around 500 damage or AP on the Silas, it will also deal a lot of damage. It will you can blow up Tristana and Seraphine basically at the same time. And also one very unappreciated thing is that it breaks all shields. So Seraphine usually brings that with very huge shields to team fights. With the Blitzcrank ult stolen away, shields just immediately disappear.
Yes, yes. So there are a lot of possibilities on both sides again. What is especially going to be interesting is the level 1 now. Are they going to try something different or are they going for the same exact playstyle? But first, we're going to look at loading screen. I don't see anything that catches my eye. Oh, wait, I do see something. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do think it's the unsealed spellbook Scion, which means that he will definitely maybe swap into the Ignite and then go for some solo kills.
Yes, exactly. And we're seeing another spicy level 1 this time. 5 people from Twente are walking to the top side. And this is something that happens quite often in most higher elo solo queue. Why? There's a lot of enemy junglers tend to place a ward right where they are standing here. Like a little bit on the bottom, I will highlight it with my mouse here. If they do that, and you have an Nautilus and 5 people in this bush, he's dead. But he's opting not to go for it, places a simple ward in Pixel Bush instead, and going back for the Oracle Lens.
Yeah, of course, the Scion can easily charge up his Decimating Smash and get quite an easy free kill because it does so much damage in the early game. That's why you sometimes see people going Lethality Scion. You can basically do 80% of anyone's health with it if they are not careful. I do think in competitive it's a bit more difficult because of vision control and it's a bit more difficult to just walk into a bush and stand there without being noticed. Uh, Solo start by QT Katie, that's quite interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, he's starting with the Wolves right now and he's going to blue buff afterwards. He's doing that because he wants his lane to still have the priority, because Tristana Blitzcrank is not something you want to give priority away to. So he tends to go for the solo start himself, and he can do it if he goes W second.
Yeah, of course, then W means that he heals a lot back up, but won't be able to go for those early ganks. We see the hook already missing, but Slimy Devil returns to favor with a missing hook. No fights as of yet, but it does seem that the bot lane of Twente will get a level 2 a bit earlier.
And that's very nice, but we were talking last game about priority is a bad thing if you have a Twisted Fate. Priority is a bad thing when you're playing against Blitzcrank, because if you get hooked under tower, that's a yikes.
Yeah, that's something you never want to happen because Blitzcrank with the Q and then the E immediately after you are will be stuck under the turret a bit too long in early game. That is basically a secure death. Something you can also do, you can, which is it's a very risky play to do. You let your Tristana tank a hook while you, as Blitzcrank, flash under your own turret and then hook the Nautilus, who is basically locked in an animation to get him under the turret.
Yeah, that is a spicy play indeed. So maybe we see something like that. I don't think Slimy actually wants to find any engages anytime soon, especially so far up. But later in the game, that might be a thing that's going to happen, as Nar has already reset and Amy Vey trying to grab those minions up, trying to get the farm to be even and reset himself.
Yeah, of course, there is though already a small ward in the tribush, so even though Potato Volante maybe wants to look for something, but he gets spotted out immediately, which means that Qt will just know, okay, well, I'm safe to take this scuttle in the top lane. I have no prio mid, but that does not matter because the enemy jungler is nowhere near to be seen.
Yep, and both junglers trading shuttlecrafts on the top and bottom side of the map right now. QT looking for a possible gank top lane, but is gonna get spotted out by a ward placed by Nor.
Yeah, of course, that does mean that they both know where the opponent's junglers are, but Potato Volante going for the invade onto the walls while QTKT chooses to back, which means that there will be some for, small farm lead starting to come out for Potato Volante. After taking the walls, immediately going to the gromp, but has to be careful because QTKT is already on the way down.
Yeah, QT is going to look for it, and if he can find Skarner onto his grump, which will take him quite a while early. You see Nautilus and Kaiser moving up as well. They have spotted him, they know this is happening. Skarner needs to be careful. Running away the opposite side, gets knocked back and flashes away, looking for the blasting cone, but it has not spawned yet, and that means the first blood of the game going over to mechanics.
Well, getting two camps is nice, but if you have to trade your life for it, that is no longer worth. It gives up now also the dragon pressure spawning in 1 second. Hook, very nice, also interrupts the jump, but gets hooked by a Blitzcrank immediately. Exhaust coming down to not block the bomb damage. It was just used a bit too early, but still, it's a Drake that will go over to THRLL Academy Twente.
Yeah, very nice pickup indeed, grabbing small leads for themselves. I forgot to mention this, but both AD carries have chosen exhaust as their summoner spell instead of a heal or a cleanse or anything along the lines of that. It makes a lot of sense if you're Kaisa, because Tristana does a lot of burst damage, and if you can negate that with one click on your summoner, that's enough.
Yeah, and it's basically the same story for um, mechanic Watchdog Uzui. Being able to exhaust the Kaisa passive damage can do a lot, but can also help if a hacker or a stylist dives on top of you, just exhaust them and then be able to kite away with the jump.
Yep, very well done, and I will grab the objective timers in the screen once more. Always forget to do that early in the game. 4 minutes, and we have a Mountain Drake, meaning the soul will be either Clouds or Infernal.
I think Infernal will be quite exciting to see because there is a lot of burst on both sides. Cloud can also be fun. I think it can be utilized quite well by both teams. Blitzcrank just being able to use his ult while running at people can do a lot. Same though, I think, for Skarner. If Skarner gets a Cloud Soul, he uses his ult and he just goes very, very fast running back with someone in his class.
Yeah, and for Amy Vey, having that Cloud Soul isn't bad either, because yeah, you can basically have 5 ultimates faster. Seeing an R ultimate knock him immediately into the wall, but Skarner is here to pick him up, dashing forward, trying to find a kill, misses the flash E combination, can find the kill, maybe, no, it's not enough. He tried to trade 1 for 1, but in the end, he dies and gets solo killed by the enemy Gnar.
Yeah, it might seem a bit int, but AMV does not really have anywhere to go. He sees that Potato Volante is right there, so he has no other choice than to go in. If he stays and tries to run away, he will just give over the kill plus assist money, so it is a bit more worth. Now we see a nice hook over the wall.
Yeah, nice hook over the wall, but nothing much else happens. Of course, the Blitzcrank's hook got extended quite some time ago, so he has a little bit more range to play with, and you can hook someone over that wall. So if you clear vision, you have to be careful of that.
Yeah, of course, that's one thing Blitz players like to do. Just let people go for some farm or maybe a ward or maybe even a champion and then hook them when they walk up just too far and greed for the ward. We see now Cute Katie maybe getting caught out a little, has to start running away from Potato Volante.
Yeah, and we're going to look what's next on the menu, and it seems like it's Rift Herald, which QTKT is passing towards. I would say the same thing for Skarner, but he has a lot of camps left in his bottom side as well. QT probably wants to clear his blue buff bottom side and go to his top. If Knowledge doesn't get hooked, and he does get hooked, but that's a fun interaction. To disregard the hook from Blitzcrank, he hooks himself to a wall.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to be careful that you don't do that too early because then, well, you will just run into your turret and then get hooked all the way back. Then it's very awkward because you then also have nothing to maybe force the fight and try to win it. I do think still that, especially now that Slimy Devil has a level advantage onto Grindizer, that it will be in, if there were to happen a 2v2, it would be in favor of the THRLL bot lane, but now with, well, another nice Spider-Man hook, but the knock-up triggered from Grindizer means that Slimy Devil still gets some damage.
Yeah, Mechanic's walking away from the turret a bit to not let the bomb damage apply on his own turret. Skarner is now very far up in the jungle of THRLL, and they know that this is happening, so they back off the bot lane and have to give some plates over to the side of Starlon. And Rift Herald is being contested. I'm looking who got it, and Hecarim found it in the end.
Yeah, no, it's still a very even game. Gold lead, 100 gold for Team THRLL. That is virtually nothing. It is mainly now that because of the Rift Herald, Team THRLL Academy Twente will maybe be able to get some plate and get more goals and start creating advantages.
Yeah, they're doing quite well for themselves now. A little bit more even than last game. Last game was a very exciting match with kills all around the place, but now a bit more stalemate. And to be honest, that is expected if you have a Sion mid.
Yeah, of course, Sion, he just wants to farm up. Same for Seraphine. She wants to just get her Moonstaff and then be able to heal an insane amount. I do think going for the Moonstaff is a bit risky here because it will mean that you will lack a lot of magic damage.
Yeah, there's no other magic damage on the table for Starlon Gaming, so that is a bit iffy on the side of them, but I still think it would be relatively fine if they can find a pick onto either Mechanics or on Amy Vey. But the other targets, you're just not going to kill.
Yeah, of course not. Sion is one of the biggest examples. He can stack up a lot of HP with his W passive. And then if he can, well, okay, there's no real magic damage threat. I will just build full armor and then have one magic resist item, and then he will just become very, very difficult to kill. Because, I mean, Gnar does do some max health damage, which is also in magic help, but it won't be enough, especially if he gets taken down like he does here.
And very well played on the side of Twente. Very patiently as well, waiting for Cutie Katie to hit him back, using that unstoppable onslaught to fear him the other side, and instead of going for a wall, he just knocks him back a little bit away from his tower, so Gnar cannot escape with his life. Overall, very nice play by Twente.
Yeah, now Potato Volante moving up to defend the turret. Rift Herald being dropped to give some more gold over to Amy and Cutie Katie. With giving gold to them is a very good thing because they will be able to start snowballing in their own positions a bit stronger. Hacker really needs that Divine Sunrise to deal enough damage to kill Potato Volante, and Amy getting more gold means that he will easily win the trades 1v1.
Yeah, and it seems like Twente is a little bit ahead of the plays that are going on. Like, they knew Skarner was in their jungle twice now, and they did manage to find a nice flank onto the Gnar from his own jungle onto them. So yeah, it seems like they're just one step ahead of whatever's happening. And Slimy Devil now going for the engage onto Blitzwing. There's a lot of damage going down. Tristana very low, exhausted now, trying to do as much damage as he can. And here is Z with the Cyan pick, the roaming Cyan, meaning that Tristana needs to jump away. And in the end, nobody dies, but that was a fun trade.
Yeah, of course, exhaust coming down to just make the trades rarely slow all of a sudden. Both the burst from Mechanics and the Wash Up Azui get completely blocked out, but now it's Slimy Devil and Mechanics standing still in the bush, maybe looking for another hook.
Yeah, I might look for a small pick here. Tristana wants to push out this wave, and if Blitzwing is not here, which he is, they can find the hook right now onto Blitzwing. That's already a dead Blitzwing. Tristana is next, and she can't do anything else. Ulting away just to get that shield bonus to make sure Mechanics doesn't die. And that's a great pickup for Twente as they grab 2 kills with a cheese boost strategy.
Yeah, of course, sometimes you have to be a bit careful because if Grandizer has some inch of what you're doing there, okay, that is very interesting. Z is able to attack the blue buff from over the wall with his large auto attacker range, but as I was saying, you have to be careful to stand in that bush because Grandizer is able to reach that from his own turret range, so if he thinks you're in there and he throws a hook, you can be dead. But they played it patiently. The wave went by, and then as soon as they Grandizer and Washed Up Azui were too far up, they forced to engage.
Yeah, overall, very nicely done. Still a good, solid lead for Twente, and the next Drake is about to spawn in 1 minute 40. You see QT on the top side of the map, clearing everything he can right now, and then slowly will be pathing bottom side to get that prio.
Yeah, of course. Being able to now it's also you see lane prio for Amy Vane in the top lane. Mid lane is still C is actually getting a slight CS lead, and he will start to get really tanky now. And then Mechanics with 3 kills means it's going very well for THRLL already. 2.5k gold lead. Drakes are still even. It's a Cloud Soul, which you don't really want to give over to the side of Starlung, but yeah, they will be able to just secure it themselves because of how strong they already are.
And QT now in the bot side. Drake will be spawning in 50 seconds. Amy away, looking what he can do top as well. Of course, has teleport, and Gnar doesn't have that, so he has priority over that. And Gnar's looking for a fight, but cannot find the stun onto Amy Way.
Yeah, of course, Amy Vane will now just be able to quite easily force engages, and now it's Slimy Devil and Mechanics going for another cheese push strat. But this time they still don't get spotted out, and it's Wash Up Azui and Grinders walking up a bit too far again. And the ult comes down.
The ult comes down, QTK dashing forward but hitting a minion on Unstoppable Onslaught to get away from the play. Blitzwing missing the hook, and Skarner flashing forward, getting an ultimate onto Slimy Devil. Z is now in the fray, has a lot of shield damage, and the Serving ultimate comes down. Skarner tries to find a kill onto Slimy Devil, but nobody dies yet. Now Skarner is the first one to pass, and Z needs to get away. The bomb from Tristana does decent amount of damage. Blitzwing finds Hook onto Z, and Slimy Devil can find the retreat, but Z is still not dead. Can find what he wants to. Gnar has walked all the way to the bottom side, has a double hop available, but Amy Vay still has teleport. Is it going to happen? A Hook comes down onto Seraphine. Teleport coming in now for Amy Vay on the backhand side. QT finding the kill onto Amazing Water. Washibuzu, he tries to find Z, but that's not the target you can kill. That's not the target you want to focus, and that's the kill going over to Twente, and that's an ace for them at the 16-minute mark.
Z is just way too tanky. He's even just started spamming the emotes, tanking a hook, and then still not losing any health. He is just so far ahead of the curve in his tankiness stats that, yeah, okay, it was even a 5v4 for some time. They just, the side of Stardom, they did not have enough damage to kill anyone, and then it's a lot of kills going on. And now AMV a bit too far up, still has to Gnarl to disengage, but he will get run down.
Yeah, he's trying to delay as much as he can, going on to Skarner right now as well. A little bit of an overstay and didn't even get the tower in the end. So now Rift Herald might be contested by Starlon.
Yeah, Rift Herald can be contested indeed, but I still think that everyone on THRLL is just so much stronger. They have a 5k gold lead. Mechanics 503, almost completing his second item already. Now TP coming down from Z.
Ultimate from Slimy Devil going on, hitting onto Gnar already, flashing away from the knockup, and the hook misses as well. And Suppa also comes in, but cannot disregard that double hop. But in the end, Mechanics finds the Q. The damage gets spread, but it is enough. Bliss and Gnar both go down, and that's a turret going to Twente as well.
Was also quite an unlucky by Grinduser. Slimy Devil, he missing his own hook, so he's like, ah, okay, well, I'm out of the fight. Good luck, everyone. And then he gets hooked back in to be able to root up Aristocrate and Grinduser to give 2 kills over towards the side of THRLL Academy Twente.
And it's looking very, very good right now. Pushing in all the lanes into 1-2, getting priority over everything on the map. And this looks like a statement going to the final. Now AMV fighting against Tristana, dashing forward, having that ultimate stolen away, gets knocked back himself. He is very low, can flash forward, hits the W, and ultimate to finish it off. And AMV is styling over Starlon and styling over this qualifier.
Yeah, of course, Sidus can do very well with those ultimates that already have an AP scaling, but usually are not built by champions that like to go AP. So when he gets the Tristana ult, he deals a lot of damage with. Now Petata Volante is very fast because of the Cloud Soul. Tries to go into mechanics, but it's not tanky enough. The damage from mechanics is just insane this early on. Double Charm, Slimy Devil has to be careful now, but Z can just keep standing in the front line, being able to tank everything up, hit 2-man ult, Root comes down. Gnar ult, very nice, but he does not do enough damage. Mechanics gets hooked on the turret, taken down by Amazing Water, but it's 4 kills for only 1 traded onto Mechanics. Definitely worth for THRLL.
That was 1,000 gold going over to Seraphine by killing Mechanics there. That's not what you necessarily want, but in the end it's a very good trade done by Twente, and they come out on top of that fight as well.
Yeah, they are just playing out of their mind. After a bit of a rough first game, second game was still a bit messy. Now they are showing their dominance. They are definitely confident in their play, being able to just pick up a bit of a new style with the Sion mid lane. Instead of giving C a champion that really likes to do damage, instead it's just a tank. And he's doing very well on it.
Yeah, it's going very, very well. Gold on the carries that you want to see. And AMV putting up another dominant performance, but this game is all mechanics. The 8-1 score right now, already having Phantom Dancer, Kraken Slayer complete, as well as the Quicksilver Sash, allowing him to run away, cleanse basically the Skarner ultimate.
Yeah, being able to, if you are that far ahead, you can, instead of having to go for full damage, you can also build indeed the QSS. You will still deal more damage than your counterparts because you are, let me check, you are already 2k gold ahead. So you are, if you were subtract the cost of the QSS, you're still 700 gold ahead, which it means a lot more damage.
Yes, indeed. And we're looking at the later stage of the game right now. Baron is up in already, and in 50 seconds the next Drake is about to spawn. So Twente don't want to force any fights yet. They're looking for one here. Now the Sign ultimate is coming down with the Unstoppable Force hitting only onto Blitzcrank, and QTK is here to follow it up, and Suppa also going on to Seraphine. Seraphine is managing to go down in the end. AMV stolen the Seraphine ultimate, but now Gnar knocks him back in the tower. But Blitzcrank and Tristana are still alive. So Z gets hooked on the tower, but now he's passive going up. No, he's not even going down. Mechanics is still alive as well, and they find the kill onto Gnar. They can now move on to that dragon, which is about to spawn in 10 seconds. Grab that one up, and it's looking very good for them right now.
No one wants to die, I guess. C being able to flash out of the turret range at the last moment. Amy, who was burning to death by the red buff, manages to proc the Zhonya's at the last possible moment to survive. Mechanics using the QSS to get out of the last bit of CC while being stuck on a turret range, being able to run out, and it's just looking so good for THRLL.
Yeah, and the Drake gonna get picked up now as well. They're all gonna reset and prepare for that Baron.
Yeah, indeed. Being able to, now, if they get the Baron, then they can easily look to end with that. Cyan, I'm just gonna look if I can see how much health he has already built. Okay, he has already gotten... Okay, do you want to guess at first how many health he has gotten with his W?
The Seraphine? Or
No, the Cyan.
Cyan. How much? Let's say 3k.
Okay, now he's only gotten 1.1k extra health. 3k is a bit much, but it's still an insane amount. I think it's like 3 ruby crystals worth of health, which is a lot, and he can easily take 1v1s now because, well, he might not deal as much damage, but he will just be able to survive so much longer.
Yeah, he's going for that perfect game. 2-0-10 right now on that Cyan, and as the first Cyan ever in the Open Tour Benelux in the mid lane for him, that's very nice to go and show his versatile champion pool as well.
Yeah, definitely being able to show that he can play the TF to perfection and then switch over to a tank, so it's a completely different pick where you only stay in your lane and farm up. It's a good showing. Now, being able to side lane as well, not really caring about being run at by Potato Volante, because look at this trade. It's Gnar using everything, and Z is just taking no damage. Will probably get taken down, but tries to get some trade damage first.
He's
No,
still
he
alive!
manages to survive because the rest of the team is here. Gets the knockup, almost on the Aristocrat, is still alive, and it's 2 kills traded for none, and the Baron is alive.
What if you wanted to kill Cyan, but Cyan said no?
Then you cry, or lose the game. It's not looking very good for THRLL. Already a 10k gold lead. Now the Baron being taken down. I think this means that now THRLL will definitely look to end the game.
If anyone wants to make that comment into a meme format, feel free to do so. And we are looking right now at a Baron being picked up by Twente, and that is completely fine by them. They're resetting once more, grabbing that gold and going to fight, and hopefully ending the game in the next push.
Yeah, of course, just looking to get that finishing the game, getting into the finals for the first time ever in the last qualifier of the Open Tour. If they get into the finals, it means that they probably secure a top 4 seed for the closed circuit, which will definitely be something they want. They are THRLL. They would not be too sad about losing this game. Of course, they would want to get another finals appearance and win another game, but they are already locked in as the first seed, I think, for the closed circuit.
Yeah, Stridebreaker coming down, but maybe can just walk it out. Hecarim is now here looking for a possible flank. And the ultimate from Cyan comes down, hits onto Gnar. QTK going with the unstoppable onslaught, and Mechanics already found the kill up into Gnar. Grinders are trying to run away for his life. QTK running him down as well. And now Amy Bay flashing forward, hitting the Gnar ultimate onto 2 people. Amazing Water gets a Seraphine ultimate up, but it's too little, too late. Amy Bay putting the Zhonya's down, living as well. And now Z is trying to get on the tower. Slimy Devil with the ultimate onto Blitzcrank. Can't find the kill almost. Mechanics diving forward as well. Getting the Q, getting the double kill for Z. And that's an ace for Twente. That's a game for Twente and a series as well.
Yeah, and that means it will be the first final appearance for THRLL Academy Twente. They will be facing off against Echo Zulu Tribe in the finals of this fourth Open Tour qualifier.
Very, very nice. And they managed to kill and finish off Starlon Gaming, which was seen to be maybe even the tournament favorite. And we are, for the first time ever, in the finals of the qualifiers. How do you feel about this?
It's very exciting to see. Of course, it's also the first time I'm casting, so I don't want to say much, but maybe I should always be casting because then we'll be always guaranteed finals.
Hey, to be honest, it sounds like a perfect plan to me. It's going very well up until now. I'm going to get more information in a bit about how we're going to do the final because I have received word that Akazuda Tribe wants to play the final at 7 because they want to get dinner first, and yeah, that makes sense to be honest because we've been playing from 12 onwards and 3 more possible games would take us till around 7 or 8. I will get information from that very soon, so we'll update you all. But yeah, let's. On my client, it says reconnect or quit, but I'm pretty sure the game actually ended. At least I hope so. I don't see it not happening, so that's very good to see. Oh, I need to select my webcam. Yes. And they managed to go into that final. That also means that Starling Gaming will be facing, I think it was Zen IT in the loser final?
No, Dynasty.
Dynasty.
And that's actually a very important match for Dynasty, because if Dynasty is able to secure that third place, that means that they will force a three-way tiebreaker for the 8th and last spot in the closed circuit, together with, I think, 7am and Glorious Gaming.
Yeah, indeed. That would be very nice. I'm going to look if I can get an interview with one of the players. We will. Who wants an interview? Looking if we can get some insight from one of them. Right. Okay, we're gonna invite Z once again. Now he's just like a common occurrence here on stream, so we might as well get him in again.
Welcome, welcome.
He is
wait,
trying to connect right now.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hey Z, welcome to the stream for the first time ever.
Oh yeah, hasn't been like feeling new here. Like nice to meet you guys as well.
I'm very glad to have you here to give you your insight. Well, Z on tanks, am I right?
Oh yeah, I actually really like this. So yeah, it felt right in my comfort zone.
I wanted to ask you one question about it because, of course, you showed in the game that Z on tanks is perfectly fine and your Cyan just didn't want to die. But in draft, we were talking about Cyan or Galio, and why did you opt for Cyan instead of the Galio pick?
It's something like we've been trying out like niche picks against like Seraphine in specific, because like our opinion is that the champion is really broken and we didn't really know what would counter it. And like some late night I started thinking and I suddenly came up with the fact that like if Sion gets to free farm, he gets so much HP, it doesn't really matter what Seraphine is gonna do, because Sion is just gonna run through her basically. Because of the Sion passive, if you're just like having a farm lane with Seraphine, it's like so much more profitable for Sion.
Oh, that's actually very smart indeed, especially when Seraphine goes for that Moonstone Renewer build, which would lack her damage a little bit. But you managed to win this game quite dominantly, I would say, especially after those small skirmishes early. But I want to take you back to the second game, from that level 1, the play afterwards. What happened there? Because it was looking very grim 2 times over.
I think it was a little bit rough. Like we were really excited to play like in the semifinals, and after that like enormous throw in the first game, it was like we just had to like reset our mindset to like work forward and try again in the second game, and we just like decided to go and have some fun actually. Like how we play scrims, we decided to play that style on stage. So just like every play we can see, like we just try to go for it, and Yeah, sometimes you're gonna see those level ones.
Uh, okay, as a coach, I should be upset about that, but it was very
Yeah.
fun. It was very fun to cast, very fun indeed. And yeah, that first game we were kind of surprised by the Katarina pick, because you don't see that
Hmm.
basically ever in a competitive match, and it was looking like you guys were hard winning that game up until this fight in the mid game where she, for I believe she got a triple kill after that because you couldn't kill
Yeah.
the fiddlesticks in time. Do you think Katarina is actually worth banning? Because you didn't want to play against it in game 2 or 3.
Um. Yeah, we just when we were talking about like our plan against like the Katarina, they asked me if I would be fine like playing against it and if I had any specific counter picks. So it was at least worth a shot for us to try that out. Of course, like he isn't entirely a Katarina one trick, but like he's way more comfortable on Katarina than any other champion. So yeah, first off, we decided to like go head on head. I think it went pretty well. It wasn't really the the troublemaker in the first game that ended uh, ended up having them the win.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, after that, like our teammates was just we're just like, okay, let's just flip it and leave Seraphine open and decide some fun picks against those.
Yeah, it was very nice, and you shut down the Seraphine quite effectively. And I asked this, I asked Ian this last time for a bit of an MVP of the series, and again, I have already my opinion ready. But who was the most impactful player in this series against Starlin?
Jesus. Uh, let's see, let's see. Probably would be like the enemy's corner. Like,
You can't do him like that, bro. Like,
okay, okay. I mean, I think like I've played some supportive champions this playoffs match, so like you can say to whatever it goes, but like I think in the end it was like a team effort. So of course I will give myself the MVP, but like it's not up to me.
Fair enough. You've played really well, and I think as a team you've played really well. But a player that stood out to us, which I don't want to say didn't stand out to us before, was Emil on those top lane picks, especially on the Sidus
Hmm.
Gnar, because I know for a fact that the Sidus Gnar matchup is something we've been looking at, and
Yeah.
I'm very glad that we could show it on stage, and that Sidus just took over the games with those Gnar ultimates that he stolen away.
Yeah, it was kind of the effect with the discussion we had that we're just gonna like try the things we would have like tried in scrims. The Silas like Nar matchup is something like even we two like Emil and me practiced against each other, and because I got it was a counter pick to Nar, and in the end like we just like put it out of a hat and it worked like exactly how we wanted it to.
That's very, very great, and I'm excited to see you guys in the final as well. Leavin, is there anything you want to know from Z? Get a little bit of insight on.
Um, how fun is it to just stand still, spam emotes, get hooked by Blitzcrank, and then run away?
I mean, it was probably like most fun competitive game in like a really long time. Like just the feeling that the enemies are completely hopeless against you. Like it's quite fun. Actually.
I see the kind of person you are, Z, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
indeed very fun because I can remember one fight and almost at the end of the game where you were like fighting for 20 seconds by yourself. 4 people were surrounding you, and you just didn't die.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised I didn't die a single time this game because like here and there I actually like reached like the below 300 HP mark,
Mm-hmm.
but like they just couldn't like just finish me off.
It wasn't like you weren't trying to die. You were like actively standing there being like, please hit me, please.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't want
exactly.
this. It was very nice indeed. And I'm very excited to see you in the final up against Echo Zulu Tribe. Was that a team you
Mhm.
expected to be in the final?
Um, I'm not entirely sure. Like there are a lot of sims in the other side of the bracket that we've only like faced once, so it's not even clear to us like uh which of the teams are really the most dominant. But like we've seen so far that Exulu Tribe is looking quite steady in their gameplay. So I'm at least able to say that I'm really excited to face them.
Well, we are excited as well, and we'll see that later today at 7. We have an hour and 15-minute break right now to get yourself some dinner, to calm down a bit,
Yes.
mental reset for those finals. So I won't take any more of your time. Go and have a little break. You deserved it, and please show me a Malphite mid next game or something. Go either full tank or full AP, do whatever your heart desires.
Yes, I will do.
Great, great, great. Enjoy your dinner, and thank you for the games, and thank you for the interview.
Yes, have a nice evening.
Thank you, thank you. Well, Leavin, that is gonna be it for us as well. We will be back at 7. The stream is gonna end right now, and at 7 we'll be back. So please, all of you, go and have some dinner, grab something to drink as well, relax a little bit, but please do come back later tonight as we are facing off against Echo Zulu Tribe in the grand final, and you don't want to miss this stream, and you don't want to miss this team. So for now, my name is Thomas. See you later tonight, and Leavin, hopefully you'll be there as well.
I will be, definitely.
That's what I like to hear. Now, guys, see you in an hour.